So you're looking to start a home recording studio. Whether you're going to be recording your friends, yourself, or some paid clients, I'm going to show you all the gear that you need to get yourself started. Now, if you haven't seen the first video in this 3-part series, I've left a link in the description below where I go over all the gear that you need right from the beginning. In this video, I'm going to go over the gear that's good to have. Once you've outgrown yourself, once you want to start learning more recording techniques, you want more options at your disposal, more things to mix with, more things to record with, this is the gear that's good to have. I'm going to try and keep the cost low still so you can get started on a budget. So I'm not going to be recommending any $1,000 microphones, $2,000 plug-in suites. This is a direct follow-on from the first video. So as I said, make sure you give that a watch first. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you something really helpful that you can download to get yourself going on this journey. So without any further delay, this is the gear that's good to have to get your home recording studio up and running. Number 1, Premium Digital Audio Workstation or DAW. Now, a digital audio workstation is the software that you'll be using to record and mix onto your computer. We went over that in the first video and we talked about some of the free options you can go for just to get yourself started. I recommended PreSonus's Studio One for Prime. Now this has all the basics. It will let you record and mix and master. It comes with a few plugins, but there will come a time where you'll start to outgrow it, where you'll probably be looking into some more complex mixing techniques. And there are plenty of features that tend to be missed out when it comes to the free ones, such as advanced editing options and exporting options, and the plugin selection's normally quite thin. So at this stage, it's worth looking into getting a premium paid DAW. Now there are plenty of options available. If you did go for PreSonus's Studio One for Prime, you can upgrade to the premium version for around $100, I think, when it's on offer anyway. And again, it's still a great option. You'll get some more plugins and some more features. But at this stage, you might want to consider moving towards something that's used more in the industry as standard. For example, Pro Tools or Logic Pro. Now, which one you go for, again, is up to you. It might be worth trying. If you have a Mac, trying out GarageBand, it gives you a kind of idea of what Logic Pro is like. And then you can buy Logic Pro for a couple of $100 normally. Or you can go for Pro Tools, which is available on PC and Mac. Again, industry standard. That's going to set you back a little more, but they do have subscription options available. Now, whichever DAW you started with at the beginning, it's going to give you that basic understanding of how they work. So even if you do decide to move on to a different DAW like Pro Tools or Logic, it shouldn't take you long to get to grips with it. Everything is roughly in the same place. And by standard, they both include dozens of plugins. You've got loads of options there. Pro Tools has some fantastic audio editing capabilities. Logic has some really nice sounds built in. But either way, you're going to be learning one of the industry standard DAWs if you go down this route. And it's going to help you if you ever want to do work in a professional studio as well. Number 2. Now, a DI box is essential if you want to record guitar, bass, and other plug-in instruments directly into your computer. I've left a link in the description to a guide that just explains what they're for, how to use them, and so on. But basically, I've got one here. This is the Behringer Ultra DI 100. Great option for if you're just starting out. It's really cheap. It's built like an absolute tank, and it has all the basic functions you'd need. So you can plug your guitar or bass, etc. directly into there, and then the DI box into your audio interface. And what that does is turn the unbalanced signal into a balanced signal. And they normally include pads. If it's coming in too hot, you can easily drop the level coming in. But yeah, it's essential to have if you want to record directly into your interface. Number 3, a MIDI controller. Now, a MIDI controller is generally a keyboard, or it can just be some buttons and faders that lets you control MIDI data on your computer within your DAW. Now, of course, if you want to control digital instruments, having a keyboard is great for that. So if you want to play piano into your DAW, but even if you don't use any MIDI instruments, they're still really useful to have, especially if they've got some knobs and faders, because normally you can connect them to your DAW and use the knobs and faders to record in volume changes and automation. So if you want to record a fade out, you could key that in manually. And often they have DAW controller keys, so play, stop, record, etc., which can be really useful for speeding up your workflow. Now in my home studio, I've got an Ovation launch key, which is a really good option. It's just a little 25 key MIDI controller, and it has some pads for drums, some keys for playing in instruments, and it's also got faders and DAW controls on there. But if you do want to play digital instruments, then you might want to opt for one of the larger ones, and there are all sorts of shapes and sizes they do. Number 4. Better acoustic treatment. Now, in the first video we talked about some basic acoustic treatment, just getting some foam wedges behind you and at the first points of reflection either side of you and on the ceiling. Now might be a good time to upgrade that. So what you can do, you can start replacing some of your foam wedges with the higher quality rock wool or fiberglass panels. They'll give you a much more balanced frequency response and normally absorb more sound in general. Now I use some nice thick panels from GIK Audio. They have a lot of options over there, but there are plenty of other retailers that will do them, and they'll often make them to size. But that's not to mean you need to waste the foam wedges you spent your money on. You can still use these in the less important areas of your room, because again, in a home studio, normally the more coverage the better, because being a home studio, the sound is not going to be ideal for recording music. So if you start putting some higher quality sound absorption behind you at the first points of reflection, etc., and then you can still have some foam wedges spare if there's any place in your room that really needs it. Number 5. A second microphone. Your first microphone has gotten you this far, but it might be time to get a second one to open up your recording capabilities. Now, if you went for a dynamic mic for your first mic, it might be an idea to go for a condenser mic this time. For example, this nice Audio-Technica AT2035 I have here. Especially now that you've got your room sounding a little better, going for a condenser mic that picks up more of that room sound won't be such a problem. And they are normally better suited to acoustic instruments, or if you want to just pick up a more ambient recording. I've left a link in the description below to the first mics guide. Now in this guide, whatever you want to record, be it vocals, drums, guitars, etc., you just click on the instrument, it will take you down the page and give you a couple of suggestions for some great budget options. And there are a load of options there, so it'd be good to take another look if you're having any difficulties picking your second mic. Now that should give you a lot more to play with. You've upgraded your DAW, giving you more plugin and editing options. You've upgraded your microphone collection to give you some more recording options. Your room should start sounding better now, while still keeping that budget quite low. Now in the third video, I'm going to go over some of the gear that you should consider if you can afford it. It's by no means essential, but it'll help you to boost your skills further and give you more recording and mixing options. Now, as I said, I want to give you something to help you. There's a link in the description to the Ultimate Home Studio Gear Guide. It goes through everything we've talked about today, and it also includes a checklist that you can check off on your computer, or you can print it out, just to help you keep track of where you are and keep you motivated. It's a really quick, simple download just below the video. And if you want to see the third and final video in this series, just hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it, and I'll see you next time.